Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Janine Harry, and it is so good to be back with another video. And you may notice that I am doing a presentation video. It has been a while since I did one of these, so it is so good to be back with another presentation. I have to say, however, that I won't be too consistent with my presentations because, as you know, I do all things and everything on this channel. So today I'm just tapping into that presentation teachable side of myself. And it is good to have you join me as I do just that. Just a gentle reminder, if you have not done so already, then please do subscribe to this YouTube channel and give this video a huge thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the video, comment, show it some love. And if by the end of this presentation you were like, hey, I know somebody who might need to see this video, then do not hesitate to share the link of this video with that person. Okay? So let's get right into today's video, in which I'll be discussing the ways in which we can free our goals from its cage by asking three easy questions. So let's get right into it, okay? Now, I've got a little confession to make, okay? So I used to envy people who were just able to speak so openly and freely about their goals, their dreams, their desires. I was like, oh, how do you guys have such a great time speaking about your dreams? Like, why and how do you guys find it so easy to do that? Because I could never speak openly about my dreams, my goals, my desires. And this is because whenever I spoke about something that I wanted to achieve in the future, or things that I wanted to do, or things that I still want to do, and so forth, it would bring up a huge sense of discomfort. And I realized that the reason why I feel so uncomfortable, so uneasy when speaking about my goals is because there is a part of me that believes that I cannot achieve my goals, that my goals are an impossibility, that it is highly unattainable. So, a lot of times, when we are aware of what we want, we don't have an easy time speaking about our goals and about what we want openly, because, as I said, this brings feelings of discomfort because we most often think that what we want cannot easily be attained or achieved. Now, think about it this way: how different would things be if we did not feel that way? And this is why so many people, like literally so many people, have an easy time speaking about what they want. And this is because when they speak about what they want, they are actually filled with this joyful and excited feeling because they see their goals as actually being attainable. Okay, so let's make this distinction real quick. When you are unable to speak about your goals because it sort of like brings a sense of discomfort, this is because you believe your goals are impossible to achieve, that it will never happen. You sort of have this feeling of insecurity attached to your goals. However, when you find it really easy and exciting to speak about your goals, this is because you now believe that your goals are attainable. And we need to get into that space of actually feeling confident enough to speak about our goals and what we want, regardless of how other people will perceive what we want for our lives. Okay? So, these are three questions to consider or to at least ask when you are in the pursuit of finally freeing your goals from its cage. And it must be said that that feeling of discomfort is the first cage, okay? It is definitely the first cage. But let's get into these three questions. So, the first question you need to ask is, what do I want? What do I actually want? What do I want to achieve? What is my dream? What do I want for myself? And this is actually a huge step because guess what? A lot of us are even scared to ask ourselves what we want because that would mean answering ourselves and then feeling that sense of discomfort, right? So you actually need to ask yourself, what is it that I want? Become really clear and descriptive about that answer. What is it that I want? Okay. Question number two. This is the tricky one. Okay. Ask yourself, what are the factors which make these goals seem out of reach? What is the cage? Because that is the cage. The factors which make your goals seem out of reach, that is what makes you feel uncomfortable when speaking about your goals. That is what makes you believe that your goals are unattainable. Those factors are the cage. Now, I'll make a little example. Let's say, for example, your answer to the first question regarding what do I want is like, hey, I want to study a particular cause. Okay. Question number two. When considering what are the factors which make these goals seem out of reach, your answer can be something like, well, I think I'm too old to study right now. Or I don't have the financial assistance to study. And what I actually want to study is not being offered at any institution. Do you see the cage? And most often it is these questions, or should I say, it is these answers to the second question, which actually makes us feel like, hey, I don't even want to ask myself what I want because what I want is so trapped in this cage, which makes me feel so uncomfortable. So, what's the point? But we need to become aware of the cage, right? So, as mentioned, you need to ask, what are the factors which make these goals seem out of reach? And this can go for literally anything you want to achieve. It can even go for a romantic relationship. You can basically ask yourself, okay, so what do I want? Oh, I want a particular romantic relationship. I want a wife. I want a husband. I want my kingdom spouse. So, what are the factors which make that goal seem out of reach? And your answer may be something like, well, I don't think good people exist. People can't be loyal. People can't be trusted. I just think I'm getting too old for all of these things. So, do you see how the cage is just basically these beliefs which make us feel like what we want is just not worth even speaking about? And then the final question is probably one of the most empowering ones ever. And that is, can you consider this? No matter how rational the cage seems, can I validate it and be open to seeing its absurdity? Now, I love the fact that we can both validate something and see its absurdity. And I was a bit reluctant to even use the word absurdity, but here's the thing sometimes we just need to see our limiting beliefs, no matter how rational or logical it seems, as completely absurd. Okay? Because here's the thing firstly, we need to validate the fact that yes, we have these limiting beliefs. And we need to validate the fact that we have these limiting beliefs because having limiting beliefs is a very normal human experience. Like you have got to be superhuman or some alien if you don't have limiting beliefs. So, firstly, can we just validate the fact that we are human and then be like, yeah, because I am human, I have these limiting beliefs, I have this cage that exists. So, can we first validate the fact that, yeah, We have all these limiting beliefs that make it seem as though our goals are out of reach, and that is fine. But at the same time, can we also see that sometimes our limiting beliefs can be quite absurd? And saying that something is absurd doesn't mean that we are trying to bypass the human experience, but it means that we are finally in a space where we actually want to one up our minds. We want to one up our limiting beliefs. We want to seriously overcome the mind. And when you are in the space where you want to overcome the limiting beliefs within yourself, something beautiful happens. Things start shifting. The cage starts disappearing. And this doesn't mean that the cage disappears miraculously. It means that opportunities occur, which allows you to see that, hey, your dreams, your goals, your desires, it is actually attainable after all. But in order for that cage to disappear, you firstly need to validate the cage and also see that that cage is quite flimsy. The doors of that cage was never locked after all. And guess what? You've had the key to your own cage all this time. Okay? And I'm going to leave this presentation video right here for now. Thank you so much for still sticking around. And if you are still here, I would love to leave you with a quote of wisdom, like I always do. It's been a while since I've left you guys with these quotes. So, super excited to do just that. And today's quote comes from Zankna, and she says, "You will free the mind bird from its cage and let it wander and come back on its own with improvised knowledge and skills." And boy, oh boy, I absolutely love that. Okay. So, guys, if you would like to keep up with me, please don't hesitate to do so by subscribing to this YouTube channel. Also, I've just recently joined Substack, so please do subscribe to my Substack at janineharry.substack.com. Okay, I'll be back with another video sometime next week, but till then, I'm sending you so much love. Have a good day further.